Yay. Oh my god. I am like beaming. So I'm excited to do this video. Actually, this is the second time around I'm doing this video because the first time I did it was just so windy at the beach and I couldn't get good audio. So gonna go with the flow and oh, that's fun. And funny enough, in accordance with the title of the video, just wait for these like fun having people to go by. Yes. In connection with the actual video, I'm gonna do this again because, like I said, the first one didn't work out as planned. So I'm just gonna roll with it. So this video is on lining up with your purpose. Lining up with your purpose. All right. Life is really interesting in the sense that, you know, after you've lived a good amount of time, like I'm talking about a good amount of time, like early 20s, mid 20s, and up, you would have had like a series of experiences. You would have had so many experiences, a lot of them, not all, a lot of them very positive, but you would have gathered a good amount of traumatic experiences. You would have had some breakups, health issues, maybe mental issues, maybe financial issues, relationship issues, all kinds of things. So if you're in your mid 20s and up, I mean, some people probably younger, but you've had a good amount of experiences in life. Physical trauma, car accidents, whatever the fuck, you know, you've experienced some fucking shit. We all have, okay? But if you do not train your mind to see the benefit in what's happening, to see the benefit in these circumstances that just seem to just knock you off your axis, what's going to happen is you're going to develop a victim mentality, okay? A victim mentality is feeling like these things are happening to you and not for you, all right? If you feel like these circumstances are happening to you, you're going to become a fucking victim, all right? Excuse the F-bomb. Just love using the F word. You're going to become a victim. And once you develop or you accept a victim story for one circumstance in your life that didn't go according to plan, one thing that happened and that you were not expecting, that was traumatic, difficult, strenuous, exhausting, you know, negative, quote unquote, because nothing is exactly ever really negative. If you develop a victim mentality about this, what's going to happen is you're going to gather a momentum of a victim, the momentum of a victim mindset. And a victim mindset is believing that you are not at fault or have no responsibility or accountability for the things that go on in your life, and that at any moment anything bad could happen to you, and you will live in fear, you will live in shame, you will live in anxiety, you will blame other people, you will blame circumstances, you will blame life. And it's very hard to sort of realize that a lot of things that are happening for us instead of to us are manifestations of the vibrations that we have, okay? It's hard to take responsibility for the fuck ups in our life. It's hard to take responsibility for the food we eat, take responsibility for our finances, take responsibility for our relationship, take responsibility for what we're doing with our vibration, because it's hard fucking work, okay? It's easy to blame somebody else. It's easy to blame God. It's easy to blame the universe. It's easy to blame anything else but yourself. And sometimes temporarily that can give you some kind of relief, okay? That can be like a pathway into you feeling better, especially if what's happened is like really difficult and hard for you to handle in the moment. So if you've gathered a good amount of these experiences from life in general, you're going to start to develop a victim mentality. And once you have this consciousness, once you have this victim consciousness, what's going to happen is you're going to think the same way, but the next thing that happens in your life, and the next thing that isn't exactly what you plan, and the next thing that life throws at you, you're going to think the exact same way, and then it's going to feel like you can't get a break. It's going to feel like something is wrong with you. It's going to feel like the world is wrong and things aren't working right. Okay, now the moment this momentum gathers, you start to feel out of place, you start to feel displaced, you start to feel wrong, you start to feel unsupported, you start to feel unloved by source energy, you start to feel unwanted, you start to feel unappreciated, you start to feel wrong, you start to feel like there's something wrong with you that's causing all these things. You feel like you can't get a break and things are not going your way. All these stories that your mind will conjure up to explain everything that's happening. But in order to line up with your purpose, you have to realize that these circumstances are happening for you and not to you. If you can change your perspective in that way, it'll start to automatically empower you. When you realize that these things are happening for you, then you can start to ask yourself the real and the hard questions, which is, what is the vibration I was carrying before this thing manifested? Was I in a state of frustration, overwhelmment, anxiety, lack mentality and beliefs, insecurity? What is it that I was carrying within my belief system, my vibration, my thoughts, my emotions that caused this thing to manifest itself and show me who I am in the vibration that I'm carrying and what I'm believing? Because everything that manifests in your world is a reflection of you. And if you want to empower yourself, you have to start to look at your manifestations, both positive and negative, as reflections of yourself. So when you manifest something awesome, you're on the right track. Good job. You manifest something you don't like, use it as an opportunity to look at what it is in your belief system and in your vibration that is not exactly benefiting you. Once this thing manifests, you have to extract the benefit from it. You have to look at it and say, what is it about this thing and what is it about me that is not in alignment that's causing this thing to manifest? Look at the benefits of it and think, how can I benefit from this manifestation? How can I use this manifestation to improve my life, to improve my belief system, to improve my vibration, to better myself, instead of going into victim mode? Okay? So if you do this, preferably, you're not going to go into victim mode. And if you don't go into victim mode, you're going to skip all that displacement I had described before. Feeling unsupported, feeling unloved by source, feeling unwanted, feeling like things are not going your way. That only spirals you down. That only spirals you downward into believing that you're not meant to be here, and that can cause a lot of suffering and a lot of angst and a lot of feeling bad, a lot of feeling wrong, a lot of things that are just not the truth. Okay. But once you really line yourself up and you realize that this thing is just there to guide you and to keep helping you realize more of who it is that you really are, and you use it for that benefit and for that positive purpose, you're going to see that everything is intended. Okay? You're going to see that you yourself were intended. There is no way that you would exist if you weren't intended. Everything that you are was intended. The way you speak, the way you think, the way you look, your feelings, your definition of your experiences, your stories, the way your mind works, your perspective, the sound of your voice, your unique DNA code, your fingerprint. Everything was intended, because nothing happens in the universe, or nothing is created in the universe that doesn't have a purpose. Everything has its purpose and everything has its function. You have your purpose. Every machine, everything that's created by man usually has a purpose. Even if it's just for the fun of it or for the joy of it, it's usually for something and about something. It serves a purpose, okay? If we want to get really deep and really scientific, we can say the Big Bang happened without its own purpose, and it's just one of those chance things in the universe that happened. Fine. But everything else after the fact serves a purpose. Everything is following a system. Everything is working in a system. There's an ecosystem. There's an order to the universe. We are not just in chaos. The earth is just not spinning in chaos in the galaxy, okay? Everything has an order. Everything has a way that it works. And because, excuse me, and because everything has an order and a way that it works, it makes scientists capable of studying the system so they can predict the results. Okay? The results are predictable, so they can come up with new technologies and new pharmaceutical breakthroughs and new technologies and new things that improve life, because there's a system to things. There's an order to the universe. There's an order to biology. There's a system to your physical being. There's a system to your body and the way your organs work. Yeah. So there's a system to your physical body. There's a way it functions. There's a way it works. Your mind follows a system. The universe follows a system. Animals follow a certain kind of system. The animal kingdom works in a certain system. Plants have their own system of functioning, their growth, their reproduction. Everything has a certain system, okay? Because it's organized this way for the survival and the continuation of existence. So you existing, you being here, present, alive, and breathing was intended. And you are part of a universal system. And you were created with a lot of attention, a lot of focus, a lot of energy from the universe came together to keep you alive, functioning, moving, breathing, eating, thinking, reproductive, a conscious being. A lot of energy has come together for you to exist. So therefore, you have a purpose. You have a purpose here. You were created. You were intended. You were thought of. And you were brought here into life by source energy. So your existence here is not an accident. It's not a chance. It's not chaotic. There's an organization and there's a system to creation, and you are part of that. So therefore, if you are intended, you most certainly have a purpose. Okay? Now, once you get out of victim consciousness, you can start to realize and benefit from these events and these catalysts and these things that happen in our day-to-day life that seem to just knock us off our axis. You can start to realize that these things are also part of the plan, and it's guiding you towards realizing more of the truth of who you are, realizing that you are infinite power here in physical form to create, to manifest, to thrive, to live in joy, to express, and to realize more of the truth of who you are. The more you get out of victim consciousness and the more you start to learn from these experiences that exhaust you and drain you and seem like they're not helping you, the more you realize that it's guidance on your journey, the more you can start to realize the truth of your existence and know that this is all part of the process, and this is all part of helping you become more of who it is you're meant to be here. Even those thoughts that seemed disheartening, those thoughts that were negative, and those thoughts that were defining things in a victim way, were still part of the process. It was still to bring you here to this moment where you are learning more about the truth of who you are. So you've never been displaced, you've never been lost, you've never been abandoned, you've never been ignored, you've always been supported by source energy, you've always been loved, you've always been appreciated, you've always been known, and you have always been intended. That's why you exist. And if you are intended and if you exist, you definitely have a purpose. So line up with your purpose. Start to realize the truth of who it is you really are. Start to use these experiences that seemed traumatic and negative as an opportunity for you to learn about the energy that you're carrying, the way you're thinking, the things you believe about life and yourself, and start to become more of the powerful creator that you've always been and start to realize the genius and the perfection that you are here, part of this beautiful, well organized synchronicity called the universe. You are the universe. You are the universe living in this dream, in your creation, and you exist to thrive and to excel and to enjoy and to express that divine energy that created you, that is creation itself, because you are a part of it, and you can never be lost, you can never be separated, you can never be other. You are source energy here in human form, in the flesh, to enjoy and experience itself and to know more about itself, using this platform as its story. Start to realize that and become more of yourself and become true to yourself and become who you really are. Be who you really are, because you were intended. Your uniqueness is intended. Every part of your uniqueness is intended. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't disempower yourself. Exactly who you are, the way you speak, the way you think, your perspective, your opinions were intended. It doesn't matter if they are right or wrong based on the consensus of humankind. If it is wrong, maybe that expression is there to teach you to evolve into a different version of yourself and become more of yourself. But start to own it and accept who you are and know that you are loved, supported, heard, seen, understood, appreciated, and that's why you were created. I love you. I appreciate you. Keep being the powerful creators that you are. I am Goddess Green. Namaste. Mwah.